Good morning, everyone. Got your coffee? I got mine. Man, do I have my coffee. This is one of the best cups of coffee I have had in a long, long time. And I got to tell you, coffee is one of those things that I splurge on. I do not drink cheap coffee. I will if I'm broke enough. But even then, I'm kind of funny about the brands that you know, that I use. But I love a good cup of coffee. And oh my God, T and Taylor, one of my wonderful supporters, she sent us this Jamaican coffee and it's chef's kiss. This coffee, we used it for the first time yesterday. And when I tell you I had to go searching and do a little research on this coffee. The name of this coffee is called Sailor's Brew, y'all. And it's a Jamaican coffee. And oh my God, it is the taste. It has this creamy but strong, nutty taste to it. It is phenomenal. We yesterday I did a deep clean on my house, and my house still smells a lot like pine sol. And when I tell you, and I'm still not finished cleaning. That's one of the things that I'm doing while I'm resting, because that's what my rest looks like. Now that I'm not fighting everybody else's battles, but then I haven't been doing that in a long time. What is your resting period looking like? I don't mean to jump subjects like that, but while we're on. But anyway, I'm gardening, I'm cleaning, honey, I'm reading. That Kindle that you guys helped me buy for my birthday, when I tell you it was some of the best money that you all could have ever spent, okay? I use that Kindle every single day. I use it every single damn day. Every day. Every day I use that Kindle. Every day. One of the best investments ever, okay? I just want y'all to know that. But anyway, this coffee, when I tell you I could smell it through the pine sol, I could smell it through the bleach, it permeated my whole entire home. And it does so again this morning. My husband said the same thing. He said that this is some of the best coffee. When I tell you I appreciate this, because I don't know if this is the coffee that you drink, or I don't know if you did a little research and you just sent me a superior blend, and then kind of pricey. So thank you. Thank you so much, sister. It always amazes me that there are just people out there that are watching me. Let's put some light on this situation. That there are people out there watching me that just care. That's just that always, I don't know why, but it always just surprises me. And my husband's like, I don't understand why you feel that way, because you do so much for other people. You share so much of yourself with other people. And yet you always find it surprising that others share so much with you. I guess it's because in my real life, I really don't know a whole lot of people like that. People just really, I don't know. I don't know if it's because I look dumb, or if it's because people just are not good at their core and they take kindness for some kind of weakness. So I always have to prove that I am kind, but I'm not weak, and that kindness is strength. I feel like I'm always doing that. Like, can I just have a vulnerable moment here for a minute? I feel like I'm always doing that. People see me do a kind act, and then it's just like they want to just take advantage. For my husband's birthday, his birthday is coming up next month. And I've got a landscaper. He's a wonderful landscaper. I found him, I tried so hard. I went through so many landscapers. A good landscaper is hard to find in Columbia, South Carolina. Let me tell you, it's like trying to find a unicorn. It is. There are plenty of people that will take your money and not do a good job. Or maybe they'll start off doing a good job because they want the money. They want the job, the work. And then they start slacking off. You can't find them. They don't want to take direction from a woman. But this guy is good. This guy is good. But he's also very opportunistic. And I wanted a platform for my husband's. Remember I told you in the hurricane, his patio set became damaged when one of the trees came down. We had 2 trees come down in our backyard. Well, 3 if you count the one on the other side of the yard. A really big limb about the size of you came down and it crushed a bench. And so we had to have that removed too. But one came down and it missed my garden, thank goodness. But it took out his patio set. So I was able to replace that recently. So I want to get him a deck back there. Nothing elaborate, just a wooden step-up platform deck. That's it. He came and gave me an estimate for that. And let me tell you how much this man told me with a straight face. This man quoted me $4,500 for a deck that I know that if I built myself, it would cost me maybe a few $100s. I get that wood is more expensive. I didn't pay $4,500 for the entirety of the privacy fence that goes around my entire backyard property. And my backyard is pretty substantial. I paid around about that much for it, but not that much. I think it was $4,300, something like that. This motherfucker told me $4,500 for a step-up platform 10 by 15 deck. I must just look like a stupid bitch. I mean, I couldn't believe that man told me that with a straight face. And then because he knew I wanted it to be a surprise for my husband, I think he was trying to also take advantage of the fact that my husband wasn't going to know about it. So I wouldn't be consulting my husband. I consulted my husband. My husband said, are you First he said, are you insane? And then he says, is he insane? I said, well, I ain't insane. That's why I told you. He also wants one of those electric bikes, my husband, because he likes to bike ride and walk, but he's getting older. And there are lots of inclining ups and downs here in Columbia, South Carolina. Child, I would fire him, except like I said, good landscapers are hard to find here. Anyway, enough of that. Did I say thank you? But people will. They will take advantage of you. And then I had a neighbor across the street. She has this mother. Her mother is like 100 years old, literally. And she had a birthday. And she's one of those neighbors that you only hear from whenever, she wants something or she's trying to solicit something from you. I told you I used to be an Amazon product reviewer. So Amazon would send me like a lot of new shit, for free. Good stuff. Dining room chairs, faucets, electrical, electrical fixtures, just all kinds of things, steamers, vacuum cleaners. I could get pretty much anything that was on that list. I could get it. And she was a neighbor. So, I helped out from time to time. But I tell you, the way people will take advantage. And then this same woman, when we had the hurricane, listen, she didn't want to come and get our packages. This is the same way the packages that she wanted was delivered to us. She didn't want to, only they weren't Amazon packages. By this time it was Smiles in a Box. So I didn't want those packages to go missing, even though we don't have those problems over here. I didn't want those packages to go missing because remember, our side of the street didn't have lights for almost a week, but their side of the street did. I asked her, I said, hey, there are 4 packages on my porch. Do you think you can go get them and keep them safe? I'm thinking definitely this woman wouldn't mind because I've never asked her for anything. Never. In the years that we've lived here now for 5 years. I've given her so much free shit, y'all. Never asked this woman for anything. She acted like she didn't want to do it. So when she called me a couple of days ago and told me it was her mother's birthday, I would always send new Amazon stuff over there. I would send her flowers, a plant, along with that stuff. I said, tell her we said happy birthday. Keep on keeping on. I didn't send shit over there. Because I'm a nice person, but I ain't a stupid person. People will take your kindness for weakness, won't they? It's horrible that people are like that. They will try to abuse you. And they will try to use you. Just because you believe in community. Just because you believe in helping your own people. Ain't all skin folk, kin folk. We can't be in community with everybody. Amen, amen. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk about today. So did I thank Tammy and George and D. Bell and T. Taylor? Oh my God, girl. Same person who sent me the coffee. I think I love you. Anyway, none of this is what I wanted to talk about today. Let me tell you what I want to talk about. I want to talk about deconstructing internalized racism, expand on that conversation a little bit. You know, as Black people, we all suffer from internalized racism. You can't live in a nation as racist as America and not suffer from internalized racism as a Black person. White people think that they have internalized racism because they like to try to pretty up their shit. But white people do not suffer from internalized racism. If I don't teach you anything, please know that. White people cannot experience internalized racism. They only experience racism. It is their racism. Black people and or other people of color experience internalized racism. That's when all of the ideas of white supremacy and racism can sometimes get inside of our heads. And we will think that, for instance, we are less than them, or that light skin is better, or that we are not as deserving as they are, or self-hatred gets introduced. That's internalized racism. But we all experience it because there's so much subliminal messaging that causes Black people to internalize racism. Even when we were kids, like back in my day, I remember seeing white baby dolls on top and Black baby dolls on the bottom. That's racism. I remember seeing not a whole lot of representation. My representation that I saw on TV was Penny from Good Times and Tootie from Facts of Life. That was the most, and that's why we stayed watching those movies, and D from What's Happening. That's why we would stay watching those shows, because not only were they a part of Black culture, but it was a part of representation. This is why it is so important that Black people, when we are raising our kids, our default, we make sure that their default is set to Blackness. Because if we don't set their default to Blackness, they will experience more internalized racism than necessary, and they will have to do more deconstructing later on. And part of the ways, and in deconstructing, one of the things that you have to be is self-aware. If you are not a self-aware person, and let's just face it, most people aren't self-aware. They are aware of others, but they are not aware of self. And I got to tell you, go to therapy. Therapy helped me so much with becoming a self-aware person, knowing when I was saying or doing something that can actually be harmful to not only myself, but to others around me. I remember when I started healing and getting better and going to therapy, and I had to slowly become self-aware. And as I slowly became self-aware of why I did the things that I did, what my triggers were, that kind of thing, I could maybe have a bit of hindsight, meaning I could see where I went wrong when I had that conversation with this person. But now I'm so far along in that process where I can self-correct immediately on the spot. And I can say to myself, hey girl, this ain't the best route to take. You need to switch up. Because while you don't necessarily mean to be harmful, that's intent versus impact. You are being harmful in this moment. And so you need to figure out a better way to handle this. Or you need to figure out a better way to handle the person you're dealing with right now. Especially, when it comes to marriage with my husband. I realize that something that I'm doing could impact him negatively. And he's learning those same things because we teach each other how to be aware of what the other person needs and what the other person is feeling and what the other person may be thinking. Plus we talk, we actually communicate. So, one of the things that I will not do as a Black person who has done deconstructive work to deconstruct my internalized racism is that I never listen to white people's takes on Black shit. Never. I never listen to that. No white person is qualified to speak on Black shit. Listen. If white people are going to do the work of being anti-racist, their core audience should be other white people, not Black people. So when Black people, when we are in their comments Amen. Yes. Yes. What y'all really don't understand is that that is internalized racism. That's your internalized racism. Because somewhere inside of your head, you think that white people know us better than we know ourselves. And that is not true. That could never be true. Because you think that, that is why when something happens in the black community and black people are facing injustice, you all go tagging white creators instead of looking for qualified black creators. You should be following them already. So why you aren't tagging them, I don't know. But that's who you need to be tagging in business. You need to be tagging in black people on black business, not white people. If white people want to do the work to say, hey, this is racist, and let me tell you how, they should be talking to white people. Because white people need the room and the ability to deal with and address their racism. And the only people that can teach them how to do that is other white people. I had a white woman in my comments the other day. She newly found me, and she said she did the thing that all white people do when they show up in my comments. I just want you to know that I'm here and I'm trying to be a better anti-racist, and I love your content, and I'm just looking so forward from learning from you. I'm not teaching. If you look at my content, you know that 90% of the time I'm talking to black people. I'm not talking to them. I don't have anything for them in that respect. Now, I'm not saying anything that they couldn't learn from, but I am not teaching white people. I'm not here to teach white people. I have no interest in teaching white people anything collectively. My platform is built on being pro-black and the advancement of black people, the higher learning of black people. I have no interest in teaching white people anything. And yes, I find it weird and suspicious that they are always chasing black people down, expecting us to do that labor. I find that weird. I find that weird. And I'm just not one of those black people that are going to fall into that trap. I am not going to allow you to center yourself here because you think I can teach you something, because that is your excuse to be all in my comments, talking all over black people, using my platform to make yourself feel better about being a racist. Go over there with your people. Figure yourselves out. And let black people have the room to do that for ourselves. And maybe one day, not today, not tomorrow, not next year, it'll never be in my lifetime. I'll be dead and gone before black people and white people will be able to sit into a room without bigotry, prejudice, and racism permeating the atmosphere. I'll be dead and gone. I will be long gone. And that's just the truth. Stop looking to white people for your answers. White people have never been the answer for black people. White people ain't never going to be the answer for black people. Black people are always going to be the answer for black people, just like white people are always going to be the answer for white people. That's just the truth. Feel your feelings on that. But be self-aware enough and deconstruct deep enough to where you feel like you want to listen to a white person's take about anything black. I don't care if it's an entertainment reporter talking about Meghan Markle. I'm not listening to it. Because white people are not qualified to speak on black people. Because racism, bigotry, prejudice will always stand in the way of a fair assessment. They're not qualified, even when they call themselves anti-racist. There is this thing inside of the minds of black people that want acceptance from white people so bad that you need to hear them say that they like us. And you need to ask yourself why it is you need to hear that. You need to feel that where they are concerned. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all white people. But we know more of them than not are racist inherently. They were raised in a society that benefited them. There are systems in place that their ancestors put there that still benefits them. And they have done nothing when it comes to the work of tearing down those systems so that equity can be had by everyone. And I'm sorry, actions speak louder than words. What are they doing to dismantle those systems? As a Black person, you need to ask yourself that. And if the answer is no, nothing, then you need to go on and mind your own Black ass business. Actions speak louder than words. They can say they were anti-racist as long as the day is long. But if they're really not doing anything to tear down those systems and make sure that shit is fair for everyone, that everyone has the same opportunities, the same ability to thrive, then they're just talking. They're literally just talking. And y'all are buying the shit they selling. Always look to your people. Always. Your people are your answer. They are, for the most part. And I'm not saying that we don't have allies. We do. We have some wonderful allies. But you can't accept white people as your ally until they have done that work. They have stood in the way of racism and prejudice and bigotry. They have voted for the right things and the right candidates. They would vote for reparations because they know that Black people are owed in this nation. They tell the truth, the absolute truth about racism. They try to educate other white people about their racism. And yes, the biggest, most important part of it is they try to tear down all of those systems that would destroy or hinder or prohibit anyone who isn't white. And that's just the truth. Collectively speaking, they are not our answer. Calling on white people. I saw a Black woman in a video is posted over in the room where one of the sisters over there posted this video of a Black woman, an older Black woman. She looked like she might have been older than I was. And she said, we're calling on our white brothers and sisters. They're trying to put segregation back into play. They're taking away DEI. We need for you all to stand up for us. No, we don't. No, we don't. There are white people that will go in the voting booth tomorrow and vote for segregation and anything else that would be hurtful or harmful to Black people. More of them than not. Who are you calling on? You do the work, sis. You do the work. Black people ain't even concerned about that segregation shit. Black people learning the new line dance and popping fans. Okay? Black people crip walking. We are not bothered by that. Crying to white folks. Expecting white folks to fix what's wrong with us and our communities and our neighborhoods and our children and each other. Most of them want to destroy us. Where is your self-awareness, ma'am? Most of them want to see us broken and defeated. Most of them will see us with nothing just so that they could have more. Where is your self-respect? The next time you want to talk about black issues, you look for a black person to discuss those issues with. The next time something is going down and happening with black people, you look for black people. We have our own teachers, our own scholars, our own sources of information, our own resources. You don't need white people and whiteness to tell you who you are. And if you don't know who you are, let black people show you the way. That's all I have for today. If you would like to support the platform, I will leave my Cash App, Venmo down in the comments. Thank you so much. And y'all have a wonderful day. And I know this video went long, and I thank you for hanging in there with me. I felt the way this morning. Do something nice for someone. It'll make you feel better.